going to start, I think we're actually going to finish up Acts, because I was praying about it. I was like, all right, Lord, wherever you want to go. And he was like, Acts 28. I just kept hearing that. And I was like, you want me to skip 27 because we ain't ready for it yet? And he's like, no. But I think we just need to push through. And I don't know why. Sometimes I don't ask. It's like, all right, whatever you say there, Lord. So we're just gonna dive right in. So if y'all are ready, we'll get to work. All right, Acts 27. All right, so it's been a while since we did this. Remember, Paul, the Jews captured him, thought he brought Gentiles into the temple and stuff, and you know, the Romans had him, and then, you know, they tried to set up an ambush to kill him, and so now he's on his way to the emperor. And he ended up going and seeing Agrippa and Festus and all that stuff, and they decided Paul ain't done nothing worthy of death, but he has appealed to go see the emperor, so that's what's going to happen. So this is where we are. All right, so when it was decided that we, and you notice it says we, y'all know Luke is the guy that actually wrote the book of Acts. So Luke was with Paul, you know, at this point. And so when he says we were to set sail, if I'm not mistaken, Luke was right there with him in this. So when it was decided that we were to set sail for Italy, they transferred Paul and some of the other prisoners to a centurion of the Augustan cohort, and his name was Julius. Hello there, that went a little bit farther than I meant to. There we go. And you know what I got to thinking? I was like, Augustan cohort, I thought, well, Cornelius was in one of the cohorts. And I was like, was it the same one? I looked it up. And he wasn't in the Augustan cohort. He was in the Italian cohort. And I was like, you know, just a piece of trivia for me, really. All right, let's keep going. And there's a whole lot of names that I'm probably going to screw up, just to be honest. But I'm just going to give it my best bet. So they embarked on a ship of Adramyttium that was about to set sail to the ports along the coast of Asia. So we put to sea, accompanied by Aristarchus, who was a Macedonian from Thessalonica. The next day we put in at Sidon, and Julius, he treated Paul kindly because Julius was that Augustan cohort, you know, the guy in charge. He treated Paul kindly and allowed him to go to his friends and get cared for. So when they got into these ports, he was like, all right, you know, you can go see your people for a while, and then, you know, then we'll move on. And so from there they put out to sea, and they sailed under the lee of Cyprus. Right, I'm not entirely sure what the lee is. I think that means like, Sam, do you know what the bottom? Right, so they sailed around the bottom of Cyprus because the winds were against them. So I'm guessing the island blocked the winds. I don't know.
I told you wrong. You know, port starboard.
Yeah.
Lee side is the side away from the wind.
Okay, so lee side, because they talk about the lee side a lot in this chapter. All right, so they went under the lee of Cyprus because the winds were against them. And after they had sailed across the sea that is off Cilicia and Pamphylia, we came to Myra in Lycia. There the centurion found an Alexandrian ship bound for Italy. We're going to put you on this ship, and we're going to get you the rest of the way. And he put us on board. And then we sailed slowly for a number of days and arrived with difficulty off of, I'm guessing that's Cnidus, because I have no idea how you put C and N together. But, you know, they just might have to forgive me. And as the wind was against us, we sailed under the lee of Crete off Salmone. Sailing past it with difficulty, we came to a place called Fair Havens that was near the city of Lasea. And since much time had been lost and sailing was now dangerous because even the fast had already gone by, Paul advised them, saying, sirs, I can see right now that this voyage will be with danger and much heavy loss. not only of the cargo in the ship, but also of our lives. So Paul somehow, my guess is somehow the Lord in spirit let him know, this ain't going to be fun. And so Paul is taking what the Lord has blessed him with. And he's like, I just know this ain't going to be good. We need to stop and wait here and make our trip when it's better. And so, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I figure the Lord has blessed us. And we are supposed to be a light, we're supposed to shine, we're supposed to be his emissaries to this world. And when the Lord has blessed us with understanding, not that they're going to understand everything, but we shouldn't withhold the blessings he gives from other people. Now they might not be in a place where they can receive them or even understand, but if something's dangerous, whether you're my brother or not, if a bus is about to hit you, I might be slow about the tackling you, but I'm going to try my best to get you out of the way. I'm going to do good whether I know who you are or not. So that's just a little aside. But the centurion paid more attention to the pilot and to the owner of the ship than what Paul said. So, some people, got to learn the hard way. And since the harbor was not suitable, it wasn't the best place to spend the winter. So, the majority of the people were in favor of putting to sea from there on the chance that somehow they could reach Phoenix, where they could spend the winter, because apparently that was a better place. And it was a harbor of Crete that was facing southwest and northwest. And when a moderate south wind began to blow, they thought, we can probably make this work. So, they set off. So they weighed anchor and they began to sail past Crete, and they were staying close to the shore. Am I going too fast? All right. But soon a violent wind called the northeaster. It rushed down from Crete. And since the ship was caught and could not be turned head on into the wind, we gave way to it and we were just driven. By running under the lee of a small island called Cauda, I don't know, we were just scarcely able to get the ship's boat under control. And after hoisting it up, they took measures to undergird the ship. So they were trying to reinforce me. I'm not a ship person, but I know undergird means you got to make it stronger. At least I think that's what it means. Then, fearing that they would run on the Syrtis, I have no idea what that is, they lowered the sea anchor, and so they were driven. And y'all, we were being pounded by the storm so violently that on the next day, they started throwing the cargo overboard. So we need to get rid of all this weight. And on the third day, with their own hands, they started to throw the ship's tackle overboard. Now, unless I'm mistaken, tackle is your bait, isn't it? Isn't that what a tackle box is?
The hardware necessary to sail the ship.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you're out here today, because I didn't know that. All right, so they're getting rid of it. They've got to be pretty desperate at this point to be throwing the tackle overboard. And so when neither sun nor stars appeared for many days, and no small tempest raged, all hope of our being saved was at last abandoned. We just gave up. We got to figure our own way out of this. Since they had been without food for a long time, Paul then stood up among them and said, "Men, I told you so." I don't imagine he said it like that. He said, y'all should have listened to me and not have set sail from Crete. And thereby you would have avoided all this damage and loss. But I urge you, and see this, the Lord many times when he was here on earth. He would say, you know, the kingdom of God has come near to you. The kingdom of God is at hand. And and I could be wrong, but I think the kingdom of God goes where his people go. And so here you got, I'm assuming, a bunch of unbelievers. Maybe not all, but a bunch. But Paul is in the midst of them. Paul has a relationship with God. God's blessings are on Paul, especially if Paul is doing his will, and he is. And there is a blessing for Paul, and it is going to radiate to the people around him. Paul's faith and courage should be alike, and that's what you're going to see here. Because Paul says, you know, I urge you now, you need to keep up your courage. For there will be no loss of life among you, but only of the ship. You ain't saving the ship. Because last night there stood by me an angel of the God to whom I belong. He's saying, God has revealed to me that we're going to make this. So y'all need to stand up. Y'all need to take courage. And this angel that I saw last night says, do not be afraid, Paul, because you have to stand before the emperor. It's going to happen. And indeed, you know, God has not only granted you safety, but safety to all those who are sailing with you. So the blessing that is upon Paul is being spread to everybody else that's with him. And I'm telling you right now, that is true for us as well. So, now Paul is talking to the guys. You need to keep up your courage, men. Because I have faith in God that it's going to be exactly the way I was told. But we will have to run aground on some small island. This is how we're going to have to do things. So in the 14th night, they've been out there for 2 weeks. As we were drifting across the Sea of Adria, about midnight, the sailors suspected they were nearing land. And so they took soundings, and they found it was 20 fathoms deep. And a little farther, they took soundings, and now it's only 15 fathoms deep. So, yeah, we're getting close to land. Fearing that they might run on the rocks, they let down the 4 anchors from the stern, and they prayed for daylight. So we'll drop the anchors, and we're going to wait till daylight and hope we survive that long. But when the sailors tried to escape from the ship and had lowered a boat into the sea, I'm guessing like a rowboat or something, on a pretext, so they were just saying, oh, we're going to go put anchors out from the bow. That's all we're doing. Paul told the centurions and the soldiers, unless these guys stay here in the ship, y'all can't be saved. But look, they believed what Paul said, because the soldiers had heard that. They just went and cut away the ropes of the boat, and they said to drift. They said, we're sticking with Paul and what his God has told him. Because, you know what? He hadn't been wrong. So just before daybreak, Paul urged all of them to take some food, saying, today is the 14th day that you have been in suspense, and you've been remaining without food, having eaten nothing. Therefore I urge you to take some food, for it will help you survive. Because none of you will lose a hair from your heads. And after he said this, I love this part. He took bread, and not only did he take bread, he gave thanks to God in the presence of all. And I have no idea what that looks like, but I can see him saying, oh, Father, I thank you. Because you have kept your word to me, and you will keep it. And you have promised us safety, and that all of us are going to make it. And so I give thanks to you. And in hope and in faith, I'm going to eat this food because I know you're going to take care of it. Now, did he say those words? Probably not. But I guarantee you it's something like that. And now, I love this. I didn't know there was so much meat in this chapter. So he gave thanks to God in the presence of all, and he broke it and he began to eat. And then all of them were encouraged. And they took food for themselves. And they, here, Luke is saying, we were in all 276 people on this ship. And after they had satisfied their hunger, look at this. This is how much faith they were beginning to have in Paul, but not just in Paul, but in the God that Paul served. They lightened the ship by throwing their wheat into the sea. Right? For me, wheat means food. They have been barely surviving on food for the last 14 days. How much faith do you have to have if you're going to throw over the rest of your food? I'm a big old boy. I like to eat. And granted, I'm low carb in it now. But still, I think I would have saved some measure of food just in case. They ain't looking at a just in case right now, are they? No, they're like, this is going to work or it's not. So in the morning, they did not even recognize the land they saw, but they did notice a bay that had a beach, on which they planned that we're going to just run the ship ashore right here, if they could. So they cast off the anchors and left them in the sea, and at the same time they loosened the ropes that tied the steering oars, and then hoisting the foresail to the wind, they headed out. We're heading for the beach. Striking a reef, they ran the ship aground. And the bow stuck, and it remained, so it was just wedged in there. But the stern was being broken up by the force of the waves. So the ship is now falling apart, and they're stuck. But they're at least close to this beach. And the soldiers' plan was to kill all the prisoners so that nobody could swim away and escape. But the centurion, Julius, just because he wanted to save Paul, kept them from carrying out their plan. He ordered those who could swim, all right, y'all jump overboard first, and y'all get to the land. And then the rest of us are going to follow, some on planks and others on pieces of the ship. And so it was that they were all brought safely to land. All right, so that's the end of chapter 27. All right.
Hey everybody, it's Tony again. Let me ask you a question. Do you have questions that you would like answered? Do you want advice on spiritual things? Because I want to help. I really would. I'd like to help you if I can. Now, let me be honest. I can't promise that I can solve every problem you have or that I can meet your every need, because that's not going to happen. I can't. Um, and if I told you I could, it would be a lie. But I'm not going to lie to you. What I can promise is that if you ask me for something, then I'm going to at least pray about it for you. And, I'll try and help if I can, but, if I can. Um, if you would like my prayers or my advice or to talk about scriptural things or anything like that, what I want you to do is to text me or email me at hegavemea story@gmail.com. No spaces, no nothing, just all one word. He gave me a story at gmail.com. Now, there are some specific instructions to make sure I get it. So, what I need you to do to make sure and put help shared faith either in the subject line or in the body of the text. Shared Faith is just the name of my Facebook page. And it's the filter that is going to send that email straight to me. Because if you don't put help Shared Faith in there, there's a good possibility I won't get it for weeks or months. Um, if ever. And I don't want that to happen. So please make sure you put help shared faith either in the subject or the body of the text. And that's all I really have to say about that. I do want to say thank you for coming, for listening to the things I have to say, and for giving me the opportunity to present what I think God wanted me to talk about. Um, I know that sounds a little presumptuous, but I really feel like he leads me in these things. And I just wanted to share. So thank you for coming. And I pray that God really does bless you and your life, and that he works to build you up and to make things better, to fill you with love and joy and happiness and all these wonderful things. I love you. God bless you. And hopefully we'll talk again soon. Thank you very much.